Mark Madsen has a new fight promotion. The World Team Trials have come to a conclusion, and Rulon Gardner did not make the Olympic team, but his training partner did. Do I have anybody's attention? Hello. Is there a wrestling fan out there? You guys ready for this? So, I'm going to personalize. I'm actually telling a story about myself right now. My partner and I get wind that Rulon Gardner, who pulled the biggest upset in the history of the Olympic Games. He did this in the year 2000. It still, to this day, is the biggest upset in the history of the Olympic Games. Rulon takes out the most feared man in sport. And I must say it once again, Rulon took out perhaps the most feared man in the history of sport, a guy named Alexander Karelin. If you don't know who that is, you're at a computer, and you just want to see what the most intimidating guy in sport looks like, type this guy in. Alexander Karelin, Russia. Pop right up. Heavyweight. Monster. Unbeaten. He had never lost. Can you believe that? He had never lost. Now, there's different levels. Wrestle as a kid, they got something called cadet, and then when you get in high school, it's called junior, and then go through college, and eventually you get to the senior level. So I'm not saying like as a little boy when he's figuring out how to do it, I don't know. But for senior level, for the highest and most respected level, that would be your World and Olympic Games. For the time he entered that, which he was 17 when he entered that, he never lost. And his final match, Alexander Karelin, was to Rulon Gardner. Rulon Gardner beat him. Okay, that was year 2000. My partner Ryan and I get wind that Rulon is going to return to wrestling 24 years later, meaning this year, for the Paris Olympics. He's going to return at heavyweight in Greco-Roman in America. And if there's anywhere that a guy that hasn't wrestled in a period of time could return and be a factor, it's in America at heavyweight in Greco-Roman. Like this is a live possibility. So we go out and we're filming Rulon Gardner. And Rulon's looking good. The problem is finding workout partners, right? You got not only got this guy, the Olympic champion, but Rulon is a very big man. He has to cut down to make heavyweight. He's in a sport that not a lot of people do, which is Greco-Roman wrestling. Like you got to find an environment to put yourself in to have a training partner. And when we were there filming Rulon, our bigger takeaway was this guy with a name that was too hard to pronounce, that had a couple of K's in it, that was claiming to have U.S. citizenship. And we're watching this guy. This guy's 100 pounds smaller than Rulon, but my partner and I are both, this guy's 150 pounds smaller. We're both watching this and saying, hey, who's this guy? He looks really good. Sure enough, he got his U.S. citizenship. He is now going to be representing the U.S. He won the World Trials. The World Trials is the same, just so you guys understand, as the Olympic Trials. It's just in non-Olympic times. It's all of the planet. Every country sent this guy going to make 44 years old. He's 44 years old. So all of a sudden, Rulon's idea, and don't forget Greco-Roman wrestling in America, all of a sudden, Rulon's idea that he could have come back and does this is a very viable one, even if it's behind us. Now, this guy with the hard name and the couple of Ks, that's going to be representing the country. One of the relevances to him is the first time I had ever seen him wrestle was in 2004 against Mark Madsen. Mark Madsen, the Olympian who also has medals from World and Olympic Championships, part of the UFC, signed up very early. He was like 35 years old, but because of what he accomplished, because of what his name was in Europe, the UFC gave him an opportunity. He made a heck of a run with it. I think he won his first 5 fights. Not even know what he's doing. Just dog tough, this guy. Ends up at Madison Square Garden, the last fight that he had in the UFC, and he's taking on Jared Gordon. And they're going to the second round, and Mark's winning. Mark had won the first round. Jared catches him, puts him down, fight is over, and Mark says, you know what? And the UFC was fine with him. They were going to keep him. They were going to have other matches. He said, you know what? I'm going to go do something else. Goes back home, ends up starting a fight promotion, gets a deal with Pluto TV, and he's going to begin it this weekend. And I'm just telling that, if you have Pluto TV, if you would like to see it, some friendly faces. One of Chimaev's very good friends will be in the main event. Chimaev will be there, will be cornering him. Kelvin Gastelum, Henry Cejudo will be your announcers. All right? Dominance MMA, going to be on Pluto. We'll see how they do. And I'm highly curious on the main event. I know that I'm putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of pressure on Chimaev's guy, but Chimaev's guy is relevant because Chimaev just left his training situation. He just left the Middle East. He has returned home to Russia. He is returning home to the coach that he had his entire life up until he was 17, and I'm told that this training partner has been a consistent and a constant with him. Guy is a European wrestling champion, but this is his MMA debut. There's no bigger pressure and there's no more on you than in your debut. But I also want to see who it is and with what skills does the person possess that Khamzat Chimaev is training with every day.